Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Merve Diyarkaya. As most of you already know, I am National Contact Point for European Innovation Council and European Innovation Ecosystems. I am working with Tarık Şahin in this area. So welcome to this general information training on funding for transforming research findings into innovative solutions. It's one of our last webinars under this Turkey in Horizon 2020 project. And this event is organized by National Contact Point, National Coordination Units under TÜBİTAK. This event aims to contribute researchers in enhancing the technological maturity of their ideas and providing insights on how to leverage European funds and unlock their market entry potential. During this event, our main focus will be exploring various funding opportunities suitable for transforming these research findings into innovative solutions. We will cover programs under Horizon Europe, such as European Innovation Ecosystems called Cascade Funding calls, which is available under Horizon Europe, EIT Jumpstarter, EIC Accelerator, and EIC Transition. Each of these programs presents different and unique opportunities for researchers, and our experts will provide valuable insights on how to navigate them effectively. I wish a fruitful event to all participants, and I yield floor Odysseus. Thank you.
Thank you, Merve. Welcome, everyone. I don't want to take any more time from presenting the agenda because you already very well explained it. We have some very interesting presentations that are focused on how researchers can make use of these programs and transfer their idea to the market. I will pass the floor directly to Nicholas, who will start with a presentation on the overview. He will mention all the opportunities that researchers have available from EIE, EIT, and EIC, and then we will start digging a little bit more into particular projects, particular programs. Thank you. Nicholas.
Thank you, Odysseus. It was very useful. Thank you, Merve. Okay, thank you for being here. I see that we have a big number of participants, as always. This is a very important workshop, and it is a pity that we're doing it now, but it's better late than never. Why? Because European Commission in general, not only in Turkey, but European Commission keeps on asking transformation of research findings into innovative solutions. They keep on asking that more or less from all the different European funding opportunities that exist and are supported under Horizon Europe. Therefore, what we have done is that we decided to create a training, a workshop that gives, on one hand, an overview of what are some suitable, not all of them, but some suitable funding opportunities under Horizon Europe. Which are those? Where are they positioned with respect to the Horizon Europe structures and with respect to the technological maturity of a solution? And then we will go and discuss into more details each one of them. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you first an introduction. So I will try to share my slide. Well, we'll go a little bit different. I will start with this one. So this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to discuss all these different elements. And let me introduce very quickly. I know that many of you know me, but I'm just going to highlight 4 different hats that I have. And I believe those different hats are essential for giving you different perspectives on all those different funding opportunities. The first hat is, of course, a multidisciplinary background, academic background that I have from humanities, engineering, telecommunications, businesses, and science. So that helps a lot, because if you want to develop breakthrough innovative solutions, we need knowledge from different disciplines, as you do know. So I'm going to give you that perspective. The other perspective from this training also is from someone that has been involved in this area more than 25 years. I think when I was starting being involved with research innovation programs, it was FP4 by that time. And also I'm going to give you the perspective of an evaluator, how the proposals are seen and are considered from the evaluator's point of view. Also, I'm an investor myself, so we're very interested, and we don't see that often, and I have to highlight that. We don't see that often cutting-edge, deep tech, innovative solutions. We want to invest, but we don't see them. So we are always looking for encouraging researchers to transform their research findings into some innovative solutions, and try to find ways to support them on doing that. And also I'm going to give you the perspective of the trainer. So the things that we're doing here are going to be in a nice, digestive way. So we will try to decompose complex concepts into easy to understand and easy to apply methodologies, because we don't know what is your expertise, we don't know how experienced you are, so we assume that you need to have everything in a digestive way. So having said that, I would like to tell you what is the problem currently, not only in Turkey, but in the whole Europe. We are number 1 in producing scientific knowledge, research knowledge. In 2019, as those statistics are, we were producing 25% of the top cited publications globally, which is a big number if we consider that we have to compete with US, China, South Korea, and many other countries that are well advanced in innovation. But on the other hand, as you can see also from this slide, is that we don't manage to actually transform that knowledge that we create from the scientific point of view into innovations. We don't have business solutions that are improving living conditions of citizens, and they are advancing growth. This is what we're looking from the scientific knowledge, and we're actually missing it. And this is why the European Commission now actually insists and persists on at some level to transform those research findings into a European innovative solution. The important thing that we need to understand, first of all, is what kind of funding opportunities we have for actually transforming research knowledge into innovative solutions. This here is the pillar of the 3 pillars of Horizon Europe. You should be aware of that. Just very quickly to tell you that Pillar 1 is mainly focusing on basic research. So this is where breakthrough scientific knowledge is developed. Then we have Pillar 2, and Pillar 2 is focusing on research and innovation activities for improving living conditions. And we have improving living conditions in in 6 areas, because we have here in the area of health. So we want to improve the health treatments, the healthcare treatments for citizens. We want cluster 2 to make sure that we live in a democratic societies that support European values. Cluster 3, that we want to make sure with our innovations and research that we live in a secure society. We are not that vulnerable also to either cyber attacks or to extreme weather conditions. We want in cluster 4 to ensure that ICT and space in an extent support the purpose of life and will allow us to live better either now or in the future. Then we have cluster 5 that allows us to live in an environment that is sustainable. It is based on it has a transportation system and also any energy that we produce is environmental friendly. So this is cluster 5, and then we have cluster 6 that we need to ensure that we respect our natural resources and whatever type of food we produce is what we need actually, and it is to our benefit as citizens. And so there is pillar 2, and we have those 6 areas to improve the living conditions. And then we have pillar 3. And pillar 3 is where actually the main focus is on developing innovative solutions, one way or another. So therefore, someone by looking at that very quick outline, they will say, okay, so most likely where we need to focus is on pillar 3. Okay, by 60 to 70%, yes, this is where you need to focus if you really want to transform your research findings into innovative solution, and this is where we have a focus. However, there are also some programs that are quite interesting and allows to do that in Horizon Europe. So this is a very interesting outline that I would like to tell you. So in pillar 1, a very interesting funding opportunity is under ERC, the proof of concept. I don't know whether you're aware of ERC. Probably you should be aware because most of you are researchers. ERC is developing basic research for developing breakthrough scientific findings. And in that respect, we want to create knowledge. However, as soon as you finish your ERC project and you're funded it, then you can receive some extra funding for if your innovation, if your research finding can lead to a breakthrough innovation, then you can receive some funding for developing a proof of concept of your research findings. So advancing them a little bit further, testing them if applicable with end users, and getting some more feedback on its high innovation potential. So there is this actually is only applicable for those grantees, those researchers that they have already received an ERC grant. So this is actually quite interesting, and it's not under pillar 3, it's under pillar 1. Then we have under pillar 2, we have, of course, research innovation actions, innovation actions, and I will talk a little bit more about cascading funding. And these are under pillar 2, but the European Commission, even if in research innovation actions where the focus is on research activities, they require in the proposal, but also in the project during the project implementation, to show a roadmap how with your research findings and with your solution, you are at some level X years after the end of the project, you're going to reach or penetrate the market. In research innovation actions, those X years most likely will be more than in the innovation actions, because in the innovation actions, your innovation is closer to the market, so that means that you will need less years for penetrating the markets. But in both cases, either in research innovation or innovation actions, RIAs and ES, there is a requirement, or at least the successful projects, or the ones that are considered of high value by the European Commission, let me say it that way, are the ones that they have a clear roadmap how you're going to transform those research findings into innovative solutions, even if that takes place X years after the end of the project. So this is extremely important also. Now, also under Pillar 2, we have the cascade funding, or the other name that we have is the financial support to third parties. So what does that mean? That means that the European Commission funds specific projects with a budget. Those projects are collaborative projects that they have as one of their aims to develop some research components. So they could be RIAs, or in some cases, coordination support actions. There are some exceptions. And then those projects that have been funded by the European Commission are responsible to issue some calls for funding up to 60,000 euros per beneficiary, and invite potential players to suggest a research idea, to offer some expertise in a specific in the specific topic of the project. So that's why we call them financial support to third parties. Those third parties are the ones that are not participating in the collaborative project, but they are invited after the project has received funding in order to contribute with some extra resource and expertise. So this is FSTP, financial support to third parties, or cascade funding, because we receive the funding as projects and then we give it to, some of it is distributed to some other beneficiaries, and we call them third parties. And we see that in many projects under Pillar 2. So this is where we have it. Then, of course, we have under Pillar 3, we have the Pathfinder, where this is where we have collaborative grant applications that they have a breakthrough research idea, and that breakthrough research idea in the near future, after the end of the project, can lead to disruptive innovative solutions. Disruptive innovative solutions are the solutions that either improve significantly the living conditions of citizens and or advance growth as they penetrate the European and global markets. So any idea, collaborative idea that fulfills those criteria fits under the Pathfinder, and today we're going to see more information like that, as well as the cascade funding. Another one that is part of the European Innovation Council, also the EIC, is the Transition Fund. Now, as I said, if you can recall, we have the research innovation projects and ES projects that they need to provide a roadmap of how their research findings can, at some level, X years penetrate the market. So the Transition Fund is actually giving you funding for doing that. So the Transition Fund is applicable only for those projects that have already been funded by the European Commission, by Horizon Europe, and in some cases by some other national initiatives due to plug-in, but mainly now under Horizon Europe. And you have completed some results from those projects, and now you would like to advance further their technological maturity. You want to advance them further, and you need some funding for that. Transition is one of the most suitable programs for doing so. And we will be discussing that also today in this webinar. Then what we have as next is the EIC Accelerator Fund. So the EIC Accelerator Fund is for any company, any solution, any breakthrough solution that has already completed its laboratory tests with successful results. And now there is a high potential for that, if it is advanced further, to penetrate global or European markets. It is something that is expected to have high demand. So mainly organizations that are SMEs or advanced spin-offs are can receive funding for advancing, on one hand, their technological maturity of their solution, so in order to make it a complete solution, and also they receive participation in their shares, in their equity by the European Commission in order now to help them penetrate global and European markets. So this is an attractive funding schema for innovative SMEs that they have developed something like a prototype of a solution, and they would like to advance further and get either funding support or participation in their shares for penetrating global markets. Is this enough? No. We have under the European innovation ecosystem, if you see it, we have already 23 calls. Two are currently open. We will see Startup Europe, for example, and two forthcoming ones. The rest have been closed, that they support partnerships at a European level in order those partnerships to support organizations develop innovative solutions. This is what the European innovation ecosystem is doing, and we're going to discuss about some of those funding opportunities today also in this webinar. And then we have the European Institute of Innovation, EIT, and Technologies, where we had 20 calls that were dealing with startups, helping startups, creating accelerators for startups in specific key areas that these are closed. But we expect one that is called the EIT Jumpstarter, that is a European accelerator program. It's a European accelerator program that anyone that has a breakthrough idea, and if they present that idea quite well, then they can be accepted at that European accelerator program for developing further their idea, from an idea into something that is more well described, and then testing it also a little bit. So this kind of support when you have a crazy idea is part of the EIT Jumpstarter. And for your information, we are running an event specifically on EIT Jumpstarter on Thursday as a physical event at the TÜBİTAK premises. So if you want, you can receive more information on that from TÜBİTAK NCPs. And we're going to discuss also about that today as an outline. Now, is this over? Well, not quite, because we have under the widening program. What is the widening? The widening program is actions to support low research performing countries to reach high research performing countries in research innovation. So widening countries, the low research performing are Turkey, Greece, Malta, Slovenia, Slovakia. There are 15 plus countries that they are lagging behind with respect to Germany, France, England, Scandinavian countries. So there are actions for reducing that gap. So one of them is excellence hubs, where under excellence hubs, you need to collaborate in a specific research area, the academia, the research institutions, the industry, the SMEs, and the policymakers, and try to support the development of innovative solutions by supporting research, by supporting collaboration, by supporting acceleration, by supporting policies, development of specific policies. And under the excellence hubs, we have also the cascade funding. In some of those projects, we have cascade funding or financial support to third parties. Therefore, also that kind of schema can be exploited by companies. So this is a quick overview of those funding programs that someone can exploit, an indicative list, in order to transform research findings at some level to start working on them in order to start transforming them into innovative solutions. This is actually the whole concept of those different funding opportunities. And now, who are eligible on those? Well, the organizations that, or type of organizations that can be supported or funded, and we say here supported or funded because, for example, in the EIT Jumpstarter, you are not you're not going to receive some funding unless you receive a prize award, but you are receiving support from a European accelerator, the AT Jumpstarter. So that's why in some cases you don't receive funding per se, money, but you are receiving some support. Nevertheless, those organizations that are eligible for those funding, most of them are for funding, are of course innovative SMEs and startups. Yes, that they have a high potential for growth. They have some prototypes, some solutions with the potential to penetrate global and European markets. Of course, research institutions that are conducting breakthrough research. Public institutions, in that case, national or regional or local authorities that are supporting the development of innovation policies and programs like development agencies, for example, in Turkey. So these are eligible in some of those programs, for example, in the European innovation ecosystem. So that is also very interesting. On the other hand, some clusters or innovation hub, which means some group of companies, usually SMEs, collaborate along with some research institutions and other stakeholders that are working together in order to develop at some level or another innovative solutions in a specific sector or in a specific geographical region. Also, in some cases, we have entrepreneurship support organizations, the ones that are associations of enterprises, associations of SMEs, or even associations of research institutions that provide critical support mainly to entrepreneurs. So we have, in that case, technoparks, we have accelerators, we have incubators, mentoring networks. So these are those clusters and networks that can be eligible in some of those programs, for example, in the European innovation ecosystem. And equally, the technology transfer offices or entities, so these are organizations that specialize in helping the transformation of research findings into innovative solutions. Then we have innovation and intermediaries, the ones that are also can be considered as technology brokers and etc. These are innovative consulting companies that act as intermediates between research actors and industry, for example, and see how research findings can be transformed into industry solutions, and then industry takes them over and penetrate markets. And these are, of course, the general type of organization. That doesn't mean that all of them are eligible for all the European funding opportunities that we just described in the previous slide. However, these are the ones that are part of the ecosystem for transforming research findings into innovative solutions. And this is important to remember. So having said that, another element that for me it is extremely important is to understand where you stand now. I mean, where you stand now regarding your research finding. Why? Because depending on the level of maturity of your solution, then you can exploit different funding opportunities. And we have, for example, the full research development cycle. We are starting from basic research, where you have a crazy idea or a crazy theory that you have just proved. And what happens? What are the levels that you have to go through in order to penetrate the market? So this is actually the main roadmap of any research finding, and that should be. And there are different levels that you have to go through. The first level is, I call it TRL 0. You might not see that very often because you see in European funding opportunities TRLs from 1 to 9. But nevertheless, there is also TRL 0. TRL 0 is when we have just an idea, a crazy idea. And as I was saying also in the example that we had yesterday in another training, a crazy idea was when Albert Einstein came out with a crazy idea that you can convert sunlight into electricity. He just came out with that crazy idea. Of course, he had some hints for that, but that was a crazy idea by that moment. So by the moment Albert Einstein said, I have a crazy idea, and that crazy idea is that we can convert sunlight into electricity, that became TRL 0. Yes. Now, as soon as he proved that in theory, that you can convert with some mathematical and physical models, that you can convert sunlight into electricity, he reached TRL 1. Then as soon as he proved again on paper, not only that can be done, but how that can be done in theory. So what are the supporting technologies for converting sunlight into electricity? How can you do that? What kind of methodology you need to apply? But you write them on paper and you complete that, then you have reached a TRL 2. Then as soon as you go outside your book and you go and you conduct your first experiments, your first simulations, and in your lab, you see that what you described in theory seems to work. So you have the first successful lab findings. Then you have reached TRL 3. Now, with TRL 4 is when you completed all the lab experiments or all the simulations in that simulated environment, and you have realized that now you have the lab-based evidence that your theory that you had before works, but you have now lab-based evidence for that. And now you are not going to conduct any more experiments in the lab. That's over. Now you have reached TRL 4 when your lab experiments are over. Then with TRL 5 is that you have gone now outside your lab and you start testing your solution with end users. And as I said, end users can be not only humans, but maybe they are algorithms in industry, in future of factories, or in industry 4.0. So it's not always humans, but anyone that is going to use your output, your solution as an input is considered an end user, a user of your solution. So when you have already tested with a handful of users your prototype and you receive positive feedback that this can work and this could function as it's supposed to function with a handful of users, then you have reached TRL 5. And then what is the next level? The next level is TRL 6. Well, TRL 6 is when you are increasing the number of users of your the testing of your solution, of your prototype. Now you're not testing it with a handful of users, you are increasing the number of users. So you're extending the number of users that you are testing your platform, so you receive more feedback in more regions, in more different contexts, and you keep on receiving positive feedback. Then you have reached TRL 6. And then TRL 7 is when you complete with all the testing with users. You have completed all the testing with users of your solution. Therefore, no more testing. You know what has to be improved, but you are confident that there is no need of any further testing. Now, whatever you're going to develop to improve, you're going to improve it. You know what that is. You have reached TRL 7. So no more testing. And now what is TRL 8? TRL 8 is when you are completing the system based on the feedback from the testings. You improving your solution, and now you have a complete system. That system that is complete has reached TRL 8. And then what we have, and this is the last TRL level, is TRL 9. What is TRL 9? That you are penetrating with your complete solution, you're penetrating the markets. You are penetrating national, European, global markets. You have that. And this is your ultimate aim of any research finding that we would like to transform it into innovative solutions. Now, this is very important. These different TRL levels are very important. Why? because you need to position where you stand now with your research findings. Because the scope of this webinar is to make you realize where you stand and where you have to go. So that means normally, as a rule of thumb, depending on the action, you are required to increase during a funding project your technological maturity, your TRL. TRL stands for technological readiness level, but these are the ones that I just described, minimum or 2 TRL levels. So what does that mean? That means if you're starting with TRL 0, that you have a crazy idea and you're going to receive funding from that, then actually we expect you to reach at least TRL 2 by the end of that project, whatever that project is. When you start with TRL 1 to finish with TRL 3, when you start with TRL 2 to finish TRL 4, from TRL 3 to TRL 5, from TRL 4 to TRL 6, from TRL 5 to TRL 7, from TRL 6 to TRL 8, and from TRL 7 to TRL 9. More or less, this is a rule of thumb. It's a general rule. Of course, there are always exceptions, but it's always nice to have a nice general rule as a guidance on that. So bear that in mind. And then the last thing that you need to bear in mind is, okay, I know now where I'm standing. I know where my solution is depending on the research that I have, innovation activities that I have conducted so far. What are the funding opportunities that I have? And this is extremely important. And this is, I think, for me, very interesting to have one of the most interesting things in this slide. So if you have a Pathfinder, Pathfinder mainly expects your starting point to be something TRL 1 and to finish at TRL 2, TRL 3. Yes, so this is what Pathfinder has. It is important to know that. Then you have the Marie Curie postdoctoral fellowships, ERC grants. The starting point of those are, these are pillar 1. They are TRL 1, and it depends on some cases, you can finish on TRL 3 or on TRL 4, more or less. This is what is expected to have as the final target of Marie Curie and ERC grants. Then we have the European, the 8, you remember these were the pillar 3 calls from the European Institute of Technology. This covers a wide range. Actually, it is, to my view, the only one through the Jumpstarter that we're discussing on Thursday that supports the development of projects that they have even TRL 0. Yes? Of course, there are other EIT schemas that support accelerating of higher TRL from TRL 1 to TRL 3, from TRL 2 to TRL 4, but it's also the only one that can support the advancement of an idea through the EIT Jumpstarter, and that makes it quite interesting that we have. Now, another one are the funding schemas that we have from the European innovation ecosystem. So depending on the type of action in the European innovation ecosystem, you can have your starting point can be from TRL 2, and that means that you're expected to finish from at TRL 4. If your starting point, depending on the action, is TRL 3, then you're expected to finish at TRL 5. If your starting point is at TRL 7, then you are expected to finish at TRL 9. So it depends on the different actions that we have, but it covers a wide range of TRLs. That doesn't mean that when you are in a project, funding project under EIE innovation support, you're starting from TRL 2 and you're expected to finish at TRL 9. No, remember the general rule. The general rule is that you more or less in a European funding program, you're supposed to increase the TRL by 2 levels. Always, this is a general rule that is applicable in all these different funding programs. Then we have also the transition fund, and that is quite interesting as we discussed. And the transition fund, the starting point of those projects are, they can be from TRL 3, but it can go to TRL 4, and in some cases it can go, but exceptional, but it can go to TRL 5. You can have that, but in some exceptional cases. So the idea behind it, as I remind you, is that you have already been funded by previous research programs under Horizon, so you have already reached as a milestone one of the TRLs 1 or 2 or 3 in some cases. So now you can receive extra funding for advancing further that TRL. We have, don't forget the research innovation actions. The research innovation actions under Pillar 2, as we've seen in the previous slide, they are expected to start and as a general rule at TRL 3. I've seen also research innovation actions starting at TRL 2, of course, but as a general rule, they expect to start at TRL 3 and finish at TRL 5 as a general rule. There are some others that you might see them finishing in TRL 6 or so. But in our case, we see in research innovation actions as a general rule that they're expected to start at TRL 3. So you have already initiated some first experiments, or you're about to initiate some first experiments with your theory, and you're expected to test it with a handful of users. And we have the innovation actions, and the innovation actions, their starting point can be TRL 4, but mainly TRL 5, and the end point, by the end of the project, you're expected to reach TRL 7. Here, these are quite clear, the different type of actions that we have there. And we have the cascade funding, or the financial support to third parties, which is the same name, that depending on the requirements of the project that issues the cascade funding, the starting point of the solution that is expected to be developed can be TRL 3 or so, and we might expect to reach at some level a TRL 5 or 6 or 7, depending. But it's important to know also where it stands in the TRL level. And we have Eurostars. Eurostars actually are collaborative innovation projects that they expect to develop a solution in a collaborative way. And they work from TRL 4 as a starting point up to TRL 6, more or less, as an end point. And we have the ES Accelerator, where the starting point at least is to be at the TRL 5. So you have completed already TRL 4. And during the funding period, you can reach up to TRL 7. And then you complete all the testing. And then with the support of the equity, you can, after the end of the funding period, you can have extra support by giving some shares. And that will allow you to reach TRL 8 or TRL 9. And this is where we have the ESE Accelerator. Okay, so I think that was a very good overview for giving you an idea where you stand from the Horizon Europe structure point of view. We've seen the different pillars and what kind of actions we have, and also from the technological readiness level. So these are very important. If you have to remember something, this is the slide that you need to remember from this session, because it will indicate to you what type of actions you should look for depending on how mature is your solution. So this is quite important. And you see, in some cases, you have multiple options. So if you are, for example, at TRL 4, maybe you can exploit other research innovation actions or the transition fund, or maybe be part of the European innovation ecosystem. So, or exploit the EIT acceleration services. So you see that you have, in that case, multiple options to consider, and which one are more applicable in your case. I don't know whether we have any questions before I pass to Odysseus on that. Let me see. I see a new Q&A there. I don't know whether this is applicable. How much support is there for the projects? So one asked Mustafa, are projects aimed at production and employment suitable? Can the design and production of a new machine be supported? Well, my first response on that, maybe we can leave them later, but I think it's a good point now, is yes, there are the design and production of a new machine be supported, and actually you can have the cascade funding for that. You can have the innovation action for that. You can have the ESC accelerator, as well as this new machine to be supported. We have to be careful. It has to be an innovative solution, not something that is new, but is not that innovative or that can be easily replicated. European Commission funding programs are looking for cutting-edge technologies. We would like to create breakthrough innovative solutions, so we need to base them on cutting-edge technologies, and that's why it's not sufficient to be just new. I don't know whether, Odysseas, you have any other comment on that?
No, I agree with you. We in these programs we are not looking just for something that is fairly different, but we are looking for very innovative technologies at the edge of innovation, especially in programs like the EIT Jumpstarter. They are really looking for something that it's beyond what we usually see.
Yes, correct. Very good. Thank you for this comment. Also, the other one from Fatma. Because there's one comment in Turkish. Maybe someone else will help me on that.
I can take that. I can respond to that, Nikos. This is the social innovation. I mean, the question is that we have a project on banal misogynism. It's a TÜBİTAK funded project, and it will create some intangible products like recommendation strategies on the state of society and so forth. Now, this is what we call social innovation. It's not an intangible product such as a recommendation or a strategy for the state of society is not something that can be commercialized. It's a very valuable result, but it is not a commercial product. However, I have seen not in European projects, but I have seen in some startup communities that they are working on digital solutions that are managing, for instance, gender equality. I have seen a startup that is working on a platform that creates gender balance plans and gender equality plans for organizations. So this is a specific product. This is a platform. It follows all the requirements and models of a new business. It has created a new commercial product to fight gender inequalities, and it is doing that through a digital platform that helps even small companies create a gender equality plan. So this is a specific commercial solution. If you can come up with such solutions under your project and find a market that is willing to pay for that, find clients that are willing to pay for that, regardless if these clients are individuals or organizations, public or private, then yes, this is an idea that could find a place in the projects, in the programs that we are discussing. And there are plenty. There are, for instance, under Pillar 2, we have a lot of calls for social innovation. So certainly you should look at there. And if you believe that you can create a tangible product that can find a way to the market, then by all means you should try that.
Thanks, Odysseas. Just to adapt a little bit on that, your your findings, your research findings in that aspect, as you said, they can be probably a starting point for a collaborative project under Pillar 2, Cluster 2. Cluster 2 is the one that works on human rights, on respecting equality, also creativity. So it's quite diverse. It focuses on social science and humanities. So you probably have 80% chances to exploit not your product, but your research findings as a starting point in a collaborative project under Pillar 2, Cluster 2. And then probably you will see whether that can become either a training course, because that can be also interesting for the market, for the academic community, either a training course or something else that can be one of the outputs of that collaborative project. And as Odysseus said, something that is very often underestimated are the horizontal needs for social science and humanities. We need to make sure that in many cases we respect gender in the research activities, in the innovation activities, so you might be able to participate in all the different, in many different collaborative projects under Pillar 2. Another one is, yes, I think I should take that because it depends on my slide from Sena. Where should we start if we have a project at level TRL2? Since EIT, Pathfinder, and MSCA are all supporting, what will be your suggestions? Okay. First of all, EIT doesn't give funding per se. It gives support on advancing further your solution. So it can be an excellent, if you believe that your solution has a very high market potential, then and you need that kind of support, so some coaching, some networking, you can exploit the EIT support scheme. Now, with the Marie Curie actions are actions that are using research findings at TRL2 in order to advance further their technological maturity through postdoc activities, through the development of PhDs and doctoral networks. So it depends on whether you want to advance them further with respect to some academic activities, then Marie Curie actions could be the ones that you should be looking. And then, if you believe that you have already some research findings at TRL2 and you absolutely need collaborate with some other research actors in order jointly, each one contributing in a multidisciplinary way to advance the TRL level of what you have developed so far at TRL2, then in that case, Pathfinder is the solution for. As long as the end result, some years after the end of the project, it expects to be of high demand and of high need by global and European markets. So it depends actually on what are your priorities or what is your solution, what is your current state and the current type of your research findings. Okay, so I think I answered that. Another one, dear Nicholas, according to eligibility rules, seemingly there is no opportunity for large-scale organization as technology provider except research, innovation, and innovation actions. Is it right? For large-scale organization as technology provider, I don't know whether I understand that. Maybe Odysseus, do you have a comment on that? Do you understand that question from Eren?
Well, what do we mean large-scale organization? I suppose we mean industries, for instance, not SMEs. There is a place for all kinds of organizations in Horizon. This is what I understand. Of course, you can participate. There is no, of course, there are certain eligibility rules for every specific proposal, and maybe there are different funding rules. But I don't believe that large-scale organizations are excluded, if I understand it right.
Yes, they can participate in Excellence Hub, for example. They are strongly recommended to have that. They can participate in some cases in Pathfinder, because we would like to see. They can participate in Marie Curie actions for hosting, for accepting researchers to conduct some part of the research. So if you mean industry, types, then these are the answers. These are some possible funding opportunities for you. Of course, it's not ERC. You don't have that, but other than that, in all and it's not EIC, because EIC is for SMEs, but in all the other cases, you are more than welcome to participate. And another one from Fatma: does not EU finance social intangible programs which improves lives of citizens? Yes, well, let's try to be a little bit more specific. EU finance intangible products, you mean research findings. So activities for developing research findings, which you call them intangible products, are supported, as we said. And this is one of the expectations of, first of all, a core expectations of Cluster 2 under Pillar 2 in Horizon Europe. So if I go very quickly to that, it's actually this one here. So under Pillar 2, let me get the pen. So it's this one here. First of all, this is the one, Cluster 2 under Pillar 2. So this is where it is funded. And also, as we said, in a horizontal way, when you have some recommendations in your research area, this can be applicable as a horizontal requirement in some collaborative projects in any of those clusters. But that depends on the topic and etc. But definitely, as a starting point, you need to focus on Cluster 2, because there is European Commission that finances that kind of research activities for developing, as you call them, intangible products. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Let me check the chat, whether there are some that we've missed from there. No. That is okay. We answered live on that. So I believe now we are in a position, Odysseus, for your session. Right?
Yes, we can proceed, and if there are any more questions, of course, we can address them later on. Perfect. So let me, you need to stop sharing, Nico, so I can, yes, thank you. So let me share my screen. I hope that you can see my presentation. So I have two presentations for today. One is focusing on European innovation ecosystems and financial support to third parties, what we usually call cascading funding. And the other one will focus on EIT Jumpstarter and other opportunities. So I will briefly remind participants that we have a lot of material ready in our help desk. We have a very complete channel in YouTube with trainings on every possible aspect related to Horizon Europe. So I urge you to go there and have a look at these trainings. This is our team. He today and Nicolas are leading this session. This is me. I'm not staying here because I think there are a lot more useful things to discuss. So let's discuss about the opportunities under European innovation ecosystems. So a very similar graphic like the one that Nicolas presented. European innovation ecosystems sit here in pillar 3. Along with European Innovation Council and European Institute of Innovation and Technology. The purpose of European innovation ecosystems, the aim is to create and interconnect innovation ecosystems so that they can help the companies and the organization to scale up. Now, why should researchers be interested in that? First of all, because it provides you an access to funding, even if the most of the calls under innovation ecosystems do not provide any financial support to third parties, but they do provide a lot of services. You can these calls also can help you understand the real world impact and validation. So you, as researchers, you will be called to build collaborations with the industry and understand where your research findings can find their way to the market. So you can test your premises, you can test your assumptions, you can test your ideas. They will help you create a larger network and collaboration, usually beyond the academic space, because you already have, I'm sure all of you, a big network in academia, but collaborations in these programs will help you expand your network with and enrich it with other stakeholders, technology experts, investors, potential end users from big organizations, from the public. So it will help you build better partnerships. And of course, a lot of these programs will help you develop your entrepreneurial skills. They offer business training, they offer coaching, mentoring, they offer a capacity building of certain entrepreneurial skills. What about cascading funding? So cascading funding doesn't have a specific program. So in Horizon 2020, we used to have InnoSoup. That was a topic, and that topic included cascading funding. Now cascading funding is dispersed throughout Pillar 3, widening, Pillar 2. So it's not something, a specific topic where we can advise you and tell you, look, go for that specific call under topic, for instance, health. You will find calls which have a provision for financial support to third parties almost in every pillar. In some pillars more than in others. But you will also find the financial support to third parties in widening calls and into some European innovation ecosystems calls. Now, what is it? First of all, it's the same. When we say cascading, when we use the term cascading funding or financial support to third parties, it's the same. So don't get confused. The Commission prefers the term financial support to third parties, or FSTP, and this is the term that you will see throughout some of the calls and in the budget documents. What is it? It is a mechanism to distribute EU funds that are aimed to bridge the gap between research and practical application. So the idea is that we have all these collaborative projects, and they invite consortia, but it is very difficult for a startup, for a new company, even for a small company to participate in them, because they need to have references, they need to have experience, they need to have capacity. However, what if we could give money to these consortia, and these consortia would act as intermediaries and give the grants to smaller companies through a similar procedure? So it still involves a selection procedure, but the application process and the administrative burden is much smaller. So this is a nice flow diagram I found from Sploro. Sploro is one of the platforms where you will find all the available, not all, but a lot of the available cascading funding calls. and in most of them you can apply through that platform. So this is how it works. The Commission opens a call. It invites. This is a collaborative call. So consortia apply to this call the same way that they do in every other opportunity under Horizon. They build a consortium, they write a proposal, they apply. However, in that call, they need to describe how they are going to use the FSTP in their context. This 2080, it's not always the same. So it depends on the specific rules of the call. So it may be for instance 60-40 or 50-50. It depends. So it doesn't mean that out of the 10 million, 80% will go to third parties. This is defined by the specific call. But in our example, let's say that 80% of the call needed to go to third parties. So that means that the consortium will get 10 million. It will keep 20% of this budget, so 2 million will be kept for the consortium and will be distributed among all the partners of the consortium based on their role. So every partner, you will have a coordinator, you will have dissemination experts, you will have some research partners as organizations, of course, to support, and you will have a lot of intermediaries, innovation intermediaries, and institutions that are usually more well positioned in doing this work, like incubators, accelerators, technology transfer offices, this kind of stuff. The consortium then, the project, will create a series of open calls with specific eligibility rules, with specific implementation rules, and we will invite third parties, usually researchers, the research teams, small companies, spin-off startups, to submit their own idea through an open call process. And after an evaluation, if they're evaluated positively, to get the money that are prescribed in that call. Now, why you should be interested in that? First of all, because you get access, direct access to funding. And by that, you are able to further work into your ideas and projects. FSTP is designed to be quite flexible and agile. So it's easier for a startup or for a small organization, for an SME, to win such a call. If you win in such a call, say that you create a spin-off and you win in such a call, then that means that you validated your idea, you get some recognition and also some commercialization support, which means that it is a first very valuable step to take you to the next step, which may be EIC or a bigger collaborative project, which will further progress your idea and raise maybe the TRL level of your particular program, particular product. And of course, it will give you a lot of exposure and networking and entrepreneurial experience. So, before we dig a little bit deeper into this type of calls, we need to understand the context of the European innovation ecosystems. And European innovation ecosystems are basically innovation ecosystems in Europe. And by innovation ecosystems, we mean a system, let's say, an ecosystem, a collection of companies, of organizations, of individuals that has one goal, and this goal is innovation. This ecosystem brings together resources, so funds, equipment, facilities, structures, methodologies, organizations, so academic institutions, research institutions, technology organizations, companies, venture capitals, financial intermediaries, banks, whatever, investors, and policymakers. So the full quadruple helix, as we call it. So academia, public institutions, policymakers, the industry, and the voice of society. Why are we doing it? Why is the Commission investing in innovation ecosystem? It does that because we need to address some global challenges. And these global challenges are the challenges that we all know today, overpopulation, the scarcity resources in food, energy demands, climate change. The purpose of innovation ecosystems is not to find solutions, but to build the networks and links that will find these solutions. So the purpose of most of the European innovation ecosystems calls is not research or innovation actions, it's supporting actions. That doesn't mean that through these networks, it's no new idea or no new finding will come up. However, it is a slightly different approach. And on top of the global challenges that we know in the strategic plan analysis for the next 2 years, we can see what stakeholders believe will be the most important challenges of the following 3 years. So, of course, a lot of them are the same: climate change, energy supply, biodiversity, the healthcare systems, global competitions, global instability, and the EU preparedness in disruption, social justice, migration flows. The reason that these programs work is to support usually smaller entities. And the problem that these smaller entities have, be it research teams, individuals, spin-off startups, is that they need to fight a certain set of challenges. Mainly these challenges are that a lot of startups, even if they come from academia, they struggle to identify market demands. So they are not sure where their market is. Of course, access to finance is always difficult. It's very demanding, very difficult to secure funds, especially if you are a research and early stage spin-off coming from a university. The innovation ecosystem is still fragmented. There is not a lot of cross-border collaboration, at least at the stage that we would like it to be. In some cases, these startups need direct access to infrastructures and investments. They don't have it. Think of instance, cases in healthcare startups where they need immediate access to infrastructures. They need access to hospitals. They need access to clinics. And of course, there are always skills that are missing. So that's the idea behind the innovation acceleration, to speed up the development and the commercialization of ideas, bridge the gap, and do that through a dynamic and agile iteration. In both cases, in European innovation ecosystems and in calls that include financial support to third parties, cascading funding, there are certain benefits for researchers and startups. These are the same. So usually, even if a call does not include financial support, it will definitely include a wide program of education and training. It usually it includes one-to-one mentoring and coaching by business experts so that you can better set up your idea and refine your product and solution. It includes a lot of networking because there are always events that will bring you together with others and understand what you are building. And it includes access, not of course only to solar technologies, but to new cutting-edge technologies. Market entry and expansion support is always an add-on. So these projects will help you, of course, enter a market and expand if you are not an early stage startup, but a more mature startup, and help you with your sustainability and growth. This is how it works. In both cases, in European Innovation Ecosystems and FSTP, you set the consortium, you follow the same process that you follow, you win. Now, once the consortium wins the proposal, the project, then the winning consortium needs to set up a framework. So the new project is established, the grant agreement is signed by the consortium and the partners, and then the consortium creates a new framework for these calls, for these open calls. This new framework needs to include rules, scope, targets, eligibility criteria, evaluation process, experts, mentors, evaluators, coaches. So you need to create, for instance, the call text, the guide for applicants, the guide for the evaluators, how they're going to evaluate the proposals. Once you have that, you announce an open call, and you are inviting publicly potential participants to apply to this call. These participants can be researchers, entrepreneurs, startups, SMEs. You set the eligibility rules. As a project, the projects set the eligibility rules and they say, okay, now we are targeting early stage startups. This is what we are looking for. These entities, these companies are evaluated then, usually through independent experts that evaluate the proposals and find the more appropriate and more mature applicants. And once they have the teams, the startups that they want to accelerate, they want to work with, they start implementing the acceleration program, the acceleration support. And they have a specific program, online trainings, physical events, one-to-one mentorings, and so forth. And usually at the end of every such program, there is an open day, there is a big event that startups present their ideas in front of investors, in front of other partners, in front of venture capitals, and try to pitch their products and solutions so that they can attract further funding. Now, how can you participate in such a project? There are two ways. One is be a partner in a European Innovation Ecosystem project. There are plenty of them. We organized a specific event for the current calls on European Innovation Ecosystems. It's called Interconnected Innovation Ecosystem 2024. There are 4 open calls. I'm not going to present in detail all of them. You can find this presentation and in our help desk, and you can have a look. And this is the link. You can have a look at all of them. However, I would like to stay in one of them, which is no, it's not this one. It is Startup Europe, which includes a financial support to third parties aspect. And it is open till the 25 of April. The expanding academia and enterprise collaboration is also a very interesting call, and this is why I present it here in more detail, because it is a call with a name to bring together educational and research institutions with innovation players. So this is a call that directly affects you. As far as I remember, there is no financial support to third parties in this call, but you can still build a lot of other products, a lot of activities that will be closer to innovation. And this is mainly participation through your institutions. You can find all the details of this particular call here. And of course, you can have a look at the other presentation where we can find the rest of the calls. So this was the first option, be a partner into a project under European innovation ecosystem, or be a beneficiary. What does that mean? That means that you don't have to do anything when you see a call in the funding and tender portal, but you have to follow the projects that are winning these calls. Admittedly, there is some difficulty in finding all the calls together, all the open calls together, but this is improving. And in European innovation ecosystem, usually we do not have FSTP, although, as I said, in Startup Europe, we will have an FSTP component. So Startup Europe deadline is in April. So by when the new projects will start under Startup Europe, and I estimate that, let's say, sometime in late 2024, early 2025, there will be a flow of new calls under financial support to third parties and under European Innovation Ecosystem Services. You need to check out the projects in Cordis that have won under European Innovation Ecosystem. So there are 250 projects. Not all of them have open calls. However, the majority of them does. So if you can check those that fall under your interests and follow them, then you will find open calls that may be related to what you are doing. Or you can dig into the European Innovation Systems Data Hub. You can see all projects here. And you can see, for instance, all projects that are open. We have some projects with Turkish beneficiaries. You can click and you can see every project, and you can identify if this project is of interest to you, and if it publishes, of course, any open calls, and if it's worth applying in these calls. More or less the same way you can participate in financial support to third parties. Either you need to be a partner in the project, which means that as a research institution, you will participate in a call that has an FSTP component. That doesn't mean that you will manage the FSTP component. There are other partners more appropriate to do that. They have more experience. However, you will be a research provider. You can act as a knowledge provider, as a technical coach for the beneficiaries. You can contribute, of course, your intellectuals and knowledge assets. There is usually a small research component even in these projects, although it is quite small. So 10-20% of the project's budget can go to a research that will allow the results of this project to be easier commercialized. For FSTP, we have, I give you two examples. So this call, for instance, under, I believe it's cluster 4. Yes, cluster 4, stimulating transnational research and development of just next generation quantum technologies. This has a cascading funding component. You see that the budget is quite big, 15 million. Only one project will be successful, but the fact that it has a financial support of third parties means that estimating the project start, so let's say sometime again at the end of 2024, 2025, we will have the project that will, the consortium that will win this call, this topic, will publish FSTP calls, inviting researchers and startups and companies for financial support to third parties. So you need to follow these announcements. Startup Europe is another example. Although it falls in European innovation ecosystems, it has an optional FSTP component, which means that the projects that will be selected under Startup Europe, and will be 6, so there are quite enough, may decide if they will have a financial component or not. The calls with the FSTP, it's easier to find them because we can directly select them. We can filter them. So if you filter the programming period in the funding and tender portal, and of course you select Horizon Europe here, and then you just go to type of grants and select cascade funding calls. You see that we have today, as we speak, 64 open calls. These are all open for submission. Some of them may fit into your interests. So if you are working, let's say, in biodiversity, in human cell being and transformative change, maybe this is a call that applies to you. And you can get a lot of information by this site, but you will be able to see the specific call. And of course, there will be always a link to the project where you will get more details and the evaluation criteria in detail, and you will see the whole process. So keep an eye on these calls. They are very interesting. They can be very beneficial for you. They can build experience. They can help you build experience, build trust, build your network. Or in case you do not want to be a partner in a project, you can always be a beneficiary. So a beneficiary means that, as I showed you, you find the calls that interest you under Cordis, you study the call for proposals, you check the eligibility, you check if you are eligible or not. For instance, this is an example. This is a call that has, this is a cascading funding call. This is the title, opening date, multiple cutoff. So you can see the deadlines for the proposals here. You can see the evaluation criteria here. And of course, if you go to their website, you will see all the details. So you check your eligibility, you see what you will get from the program. Usually the financial support to third parties is under 60,000 euros. It's a lump sum. Sometimes it can reach 120,000, but mostly it's under 60. So what are you getting? What is required by you also? You study the evaluation criteria. If you decide that it's a good idea to join, study the evaluation criteria, see if you can build such a proposal, if you have the idea, if you have the technology, if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, if it will create the impact that is needed, and of course, if you have the team to do that. So then you prepare, submit your proposal, and if your proposal is successful, you will win the lump sum that is defined in the call, and you will sign a sub-grant agreement with the coordinator. So you will also sign sub-grant agreement. You can feature that into your references, you can advertise that, you can be proud of it, because it is the first step for achieving your goals in financing your ideas through Horizon Europe, even it is through a financial support to third-party scope. I have collected here a list of links, and in addition to the website here, to the funding and tender portal, where you will see all the available calls, once you select Cascade funding calls. However, there are a lot of calls that are being published in some private platforms like F6S, like Exploro, like Funding Box. Most of them, if not all of them, are also listed here in the funding and tender portal. However, the application form resides in one of these platforms. So you don't do it through the funding and tender portal as you do in collaborative projects. You don't apply directly to the commission, you apply to the consortium. And usually when a call is in one of the platforms, it's not in the others. So you will find different calls in different platforms. And of course, in most of these platforms, you will, especially in F6S, you will find also other opportunities beyond Horizon Europe. You will find opportunities from private accelerators and private incubators. So have a look at these platforms, see what you can explore. That's all from my side for this presentation. We can take questions now, or if you want, I can go to the next presentation. I don't see any questions in Q&A.
The idea was to have a break now, but
okay, yes, we can have a short break. Yeah, of course.
Yes, well, it was to have it for 15 minutes, but we can have it for 10 or so.
Yeah, I think 10 is enough.
A little bit earlier. I'm sure people will appreciate it. So if we can come back at 10 to 4, let's say 15:50. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. So see you in less than 15 minutes. Okay. Okay, thank you, Riches. I think we can start. Pinar just had a question. What was the name of the
There
platform?
are, yes, I see the question of Pinar. We have all these links in my presentation. I believe that we will distribute the presentation, but there are three main platforms. One is Sploro, the other is F6S, and the third one is Funding Box. So I will try to give the links in the chat later on so that you can immediately have a look at them.
But these are better than the funding and tenders portal that you showed us with the
the funding and tenders portal is an announcement portal. So you will see the call, but in these platforms, you will also apply. These are platforms that are used for applications. So they announce the calls and you can apply directly in these platforms. And usually they have more calls than the ones that are supported under Horizon Europe. So they have, for instance, open calls from private venture funds, from accelerators, from private money, from investors. So you will find a lot more information. Not only calls that originate from Horizon or European funding.
Excellent, very useful. Thank you for that.
Yes, we will share all the presentations. My presentations will be both available online, and you will get also a PDF of them. So you will be able to download them. Yes. So I think that it's my turn again.
Yes. For the next part. Yes, excellent.
Okay.
Jumpstart.
So let's share the screen again. So we covered European innovation ecosystems and the cascading funding. Let's see now what you can find in European Innovation and Technology Institute and the European Innovation Council. These are again the same slides so that you don't miss us. So opportunities beyond research actions. One of the best opportunities that we have under EIT is the Jumpstarter. As Nico said, we are giving Jumpstarter a full day. So we will present Jumpstarter in a physical event in TÜBİTAK on Thursday. So you're more than welcome to join us there, and we will have a representative of EIT Jumpstarter that will explain how it works and what you will gain. But I will give you some information on what it is and what it offers. So Jumpstarter is a pre-acceleration program, meaning that it comes quite early in the process, and it is designed to help scientists and researchers. So it is more applicable to early stage researchers and people that have a good idea and that would like to validate it. It is not necessary to have a spin-off or a startup. So you don't need to have an entity in that. So in that sense, it's much more applicable to researchers than it is EIC, for instance. It focuses on countries located in Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe. Turkey, of course, is one of them. And how does it work? It offers a series of services, and it builds up through a funneling process. So not everybody who is accepted in the beginning ends up in the final. But it starts with an application. I will later show you the application process. It's a very simple application. So you apply in that. If you are selected, you are invited to a number of online bootcamps. In these bootcamps, you will cover modules on developing a business case, an entrepreneurial idea, how to pitch to investors, business critical assumptions, and what are the steps that you need to further progress your idea. In addition to that, you will have some coaching by experts to understand the nuances of your idea and how you can build your idea and take it to the next step. That will also help you create your pitch, which you will present in the online thematic pitch day. So you are selected in your application, you work with experts, you attend online bootcamps, you are invited in the online thematic pitch day. The pitch can be either pre-recorded or recorded during the event, and the pitch is evaluated by a team of experts. Now, the teams also need to be able to answer to questions of the jury, and based on the pitch and the answers, the organizers will find the best performing, most committed teams, 80 teams, 10 for each category of the EIT, and they will invite them to attend local joint trainings. This will take, will be physical, this training in certain places in every country. So in various European locations, you will have local joint trainings, 40 hours of them, and you will be able to validate your main assumptions and set up your next steps, the next phase, and of course enrich your knowledge and your tactical skills, and start learning how you can evolve and progress your idea into something that can reach the market. So you will start considering the business plan and the outcomes of the business plan, and analyzing what are the main aspects of the business will be. During that phase, you will also be able to get individual mentoring from industry and business experts in person or online, depending on where you are. And small grants will be given to the teams to participate in these trainings if they are not located close to these locations. At the end, 48 teams will be invited to deliver a pitch. Again, they will be grouped into 8 categories: the health, the food, raw materials, energy, manufacturing, urban mobility, new European Bauhaus, and rebuild Ukraine. And they will pitch on a public event in front of a jury panel. This is not an online event, and will be composed of experts appointed by the EIT community. The 3 winners of this event will get some financial prizes. The prizes are not very big. It's a relatively small amount of money, but still, EIT Jump Started is a very prestigious program, and if you manage to be in one of the top places, not necessarily one of the winners, but if you manage to be in a good position, you will be able to gain not only a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience by participating through it, but also to build, to get some trust from investors and from others, and a very strong reference that you can use for other projects. Now, another opportunity which you can also use, it's the EIC. I am referring mainly to the short application, because this is where you need to start from. And since we are focusing now on researchers, regardless if you go for the full application or not, this process will help you a lot identify if there is, first of all, something that is exploitable, something that is marketable. So in EIC, in short application, we have again a 3-step process. Proposals can submit it in any time, and they are evaluated remotely. If you are successful in your short proposal, you are invited then to submit the full proposal, which is, of course, is a heavier document, a lot more pages. Through that process, you get also access to business coaches that can support you. And again, you submit the full proposal. This is evaluated by EIC expert evaluators. And if you are one of the best proposals that are submitted, you are then invited for an interview with the EIC jury. Now, the short proposal has 3 components. The short form, a short application, I will show you this for short application, a pitch deck, and a video pitch. The full proposal, of course, is much more heavy. It has a full business plan, financial plan, an updated pitch deck, and again, a pitch deck a video pitch. And of course, at the end comes the EIC jury. Now, just to get an idea of the EIT Jumpstarter application form, I don't know how visible these screenshots are. However, you can see that not a lot of information is required. So in the 2 first pages, it's all about your names and details and contact details and your role in the team. So it's about the team, but even in that case, things that are defined. There is only one space where you explain a little bit more about your role in the team and what you will be doing. So the role of the key contact point and of any other member of the team. You have space for 2 key members, and then you give further team members in just 1 box. There are some team-related questions. If you have a registered company in the past, it needs to be either a team that doesn't have a registered company, or if you have a registered company, it needs to be very new. If you have a website, this is optional. What is the development stage of your team's idea? Where does your development idea originate from? These are drop-down options. And describe the member of the team, again, with strengths and competencies. So you see that we are working still on a team. 3 out of these 4 screenshots about the team. In this page, you need also to define if there are any missing capacities that you don't, any missing competencies that you don't have in your team. So we don't have a marketing expert, for instance, and however, we are in the process of finding one, things like that. And you also need to express who will be the team member that will be dedicated in this startup. So they need to know that you are committed and you are dedicated, and somebody will, in fact, pursue this. So it's not a process that takes place on the side. You are a researcher, you will still be a researcher, and you will keep your position in the university, of course, and you will do that on the spare time. This cannot be. You need to, if you are not willing to leave the academic career, that's fine, of course, but you need to appoint somebody who will be the director of this company and will dedicate his or her time in this company. Not necessarily at this point, but you need to know who will lead. And after the 3 sprints, you describe the current IP status, so basically who owns the intellectual property. If you are a graduate or a student of an EIT labeled program, there are some EIT trainings, and they just need to know if you have participated in that or if you have received any funding. And then it's basically your vision. What's your expectation for the startup you create? You need to be very brief because you can't write a lot of things. You need to be able to explain your idea in 1 sentence, just 1 sentence. So even less than an elevator pitch. And then you need to be able to describe the problem that you solve and the solution that you give. So remember that in every case, we need the problem, the solution, the idea. Once you do that, again, in less than 100 words, you need to describe the market size, the problems, the opportunities, the competition, the uniqueness, so your unique selling proposition, and why you believe that the team will be successful. If you see the questions that are asked in EIT Jumpstarter, there is almost 1 by 1 the same questions that we have in EIC Accelerator, and you will see about that later on. However, in EIT Jumpstarter, you only have 100 words. 100 words is less than a paragraph. Okay, maybe 2 paragraphs, but they are few. It's not that you cannot elaborate. You need to be very consistent. You need to be very concise. You need to be brief, and you need to do that in a way that people that are not familiar with your sector, because you may be a researcher and I'm sure that you are very capable in your sector, but your idea will not be evaluated necessarily by people that are experts in the sector. So you need to express your idea in a way that it is easy to understand, and the evaluators will not get perplexed, will not try to think, what do they mean here? What is this? What are we doing? What is the product? As you already identified, these are the key points. So the team, the idea, the status, the problem, the solution. Now, look at the similarities of the forum. Although in EIC Accelerator, we have 10 pages to express all these things, they are very similar. So, of course, the company description, the problem and market opportunity, what is the problem, what's the customer pain, for who, why is it a problem, and you always start with that. So you need to be sure that you are addressing a challenge, you are addressing a problem. Once you explain the problem, and in the case of EIC Accelerator, you have 12 pages to do that. So a little bit, if you consider that the first page is the cover, and the last page is probably some extra information, some conclusions, some analysis, then you more or less we have 1.5 page for each section. We have 7 sections here. So problem and market opportunity. Once you explain the problem, you need to go to the innovation. So what is the solution, the product, the services that we have, how it works. So the technology background or the innovation behind that, Why is it a breakthrough? Or if it's not a breakthrough now, does it have the potential to become a breakthrough innovation? Why is it better than the other solutions that are in the market, and how can we achieve what's the TRL? And if you don't have, if you are in the early stage TRL, how can you progress? The EIC accelerator usually, not usually, is looking for TRLs of at least 5, 6. So it is for more mature stages. And of course, you need to be an entity. You cannot be just an idea as you can be in EIT Accelerator. And once you explain the innovation and the product and solution, then you go to the market and competition analysis, where you need to explain the business model and what this business model is, and what is the target market, the competitors, the advantages, the disadvantages, why your innovation will be successful. Very important. You have proven that by that point that there is a market, there are potential customers, but why are they going to buy what you're selling? And of course, as in all proposals, as in all projects that are supported by European funding, you need to explain the broader impact. So it must have a broader impact in society. Your idea, your product must help in some way the society, mustn't do any good. Remember that you are looking for funding and grants from European Union, not from a private investor who may only interested in money. European Commission is very much interested in the environment, in the climate. You need to be compliant with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, you need to prove that you are contributing positively in the job creation policies. After that, you explain your team. See here the differences with the EIT Jumpstarter is that you explain about your team at the end. So who are your team members? What is their track? Who are the key managers? If it's the gender balance, are there any missing skills? The same things that you need to be able to communicate. And at the end, you explain why you need the money that you need, how much you need, what is the grant component, if there is a blended finance component, if you also require an investment from private investors, you need to express that as well. And why do you need that from EIC? So why weren't you able to find this money that you need from other sources, maybe a bank, maybe a venture capital? Remember that figures at this stage are indicative, so you don't need to be very detailed, you don't need to be very specific, it's okay. You can further evolve them if you are invited to the full stage. Now, I want to stay in 2 or 3 points that are very important when you are preparing proposals, and that goes in that it's applicable in almost every proposal, in every topic. It is very important here because we are talking about commercialization, and we are talking about very high TRL levels, and basically we need to prove that we have a product, we have a solution, we have a service. It is required to always describe the problem, and from the problem, explain the solution. and of course, describe the unsatisfied need of potential customers. These are taken from the call itself, from the application itself. And once you define the problem, then you define the solution. How? What is the solution? How it works? Why is it valuable? Something that we very often see, not only in applicants of EIC, but even in large established company, is that you have solutions that are in search of problems. And I have here 4 very interesting examples for established companies. Amazon was already established when they announced the Fire Phone, which was a flop because, of course, it couldn't compare with iPhone or Android. Coca-Cola, it's not new. In 1985, they decided to change the taste, and nobody liked it. But maybe the most appropriate examples is the Segway personal transporter, which in the beginning, it was hailed as something very revolutionary, as a device that would change the idea of personal transportation and would change everything. And after 8 years, it is discontinued. In the end, it seems that only malls bought it, and now you can only see it as an experience in some cities. They organize tours on Segways, and you can see it in malls, in closed spaces. It failed to realize all these promises. Another flop, this is one of my favorites, is the Juicero. That was a $400 juicer, and the company managed to get a lot of funding, I tell you. And the idea was that it could work like the coffee capsules, like Nespresso, for instance. So you have the machine, and you buy these pre-packaged packets of juice, and you insert it in the machine, and then you get your juice. But people realized that they could simply squeeze the packets by hand, and the juice was available to them. So you didn't really need the expensive juicer. Of course, after a few months in the market, they realized that it was a complete flop, and this is an excellent example of a solution in search of a problem. So there wasn't any problem. They thought that there was a problem, and they found the solution for a problem that wasn't there. There wasn't any challenge. So as a takeaway, I would urge you to identify the real needs in the market before developing the new products, and try to address genuine customer pains. So there are plenty of challenges and problems out there. We don't need to invent new ones. The second, to understand your market and your sales plan and express it. It is required both in EIT Jumpstarter and in acceleration, in the EIC acceleration, to describe your business model, to describe your market. How are you going to create revenue? How are you going to the market? What are the steps that you need to follow to reach the market? And what is your commercialization strategy? Now, these are some good examples in contrast with the previous, which were bad examples. These are some indicative, excellent examples on how you can build a unique selling proposition by combining often hardware or a specific product, and a service. My favorite example here is Apple iPod. which was a very good device when it first came up. It was an excellent device, but we had this kind of devices at that point. We did have MP3 players, we did have portable music players. So in that sense, iPod was nothing different. Okay, it was of a better quality, more elegant, hopefully more expensive, of course, and it was an Apple product. However, the revolution came when users were able to combine the iPod with the iTunes. So the model, a different business model as we knew it till then. You didn't have to buy the whole album. You could buy just one song from any album. You could download it through iTunes to your computer, to your mobile, to iPod directly, and share it among all your devices. So that was a different business model, a combination of a device, of a product, and a service, the digital music store, that really revolutionized the music industry and created a different, superior listening experience. Another very interesting example is the Hilti tool fleet. Hilti is a company that manufactures power tools, drills, big hammers, all that kind of stuff, tools that are used in construction. And they realized that their sales were dropping. So they changed their model. So instead of selling these tools, they decided that they will keep them and they would create a rental and leasing solution along with the maintenance program. So you don't need to buy these tools. You can rent them from Hilti and they keep them. They make sure that they are maintained appropriately. And that helps you because you don't need to bear all the costs of buying a complete set of tools and then keeping them into your assets if you don't have any other project. So it's a very convenient deal. It takes a lot of burden out of the construction industry, and it creates a new model, which at that point was very revolutionary. Now we can see it in more and more sectors of the market. Dell's Direct is another example, and Dollar Shave Club, it's very similar. You can have a look at them. The final key element that you need to focus on, in my opinion, when you are working in this kind of proposals, is your team and the management of your team or company. You need to present your team, including a track record of the founders. This can be as well. So you need to present the team. You need to show why you have selected them. Why did you come together? What are the skills that this team has, if any skills are missing? Now, in EIT, you don't need to go into further details of governance because at the moment you don't have any entity, you don't have any company. So you don't need to describe the board of directors and employee stock and ownership plans. However, in EIC, you will probably need to do that because you need to show that you have in place all the governance aspects. So how you are running your company, what is the management, and what are what's the structure of decision taking and for crisis management in the company, because this is required. And to build a great team means that you need to make sure that this team will have a shared vision, so they will be able to work together. they will have complementary skills. So not all of them will be experts in the same thing. This is often something that we see in research teams. They are not multidisciplinary. You get, and it is common. It's not something that is not unexpected. But you need to remedy that. You need to make sure that this is your team is multidisciplinary if needed, and it includes all skills. And not only that, the team has a communication and collaboration culture, which means that works well together, and very important, the team has a strong motivation and commitment. I have some examples here of really strong teams that you can be inspired from, and finally, you need to be able to tell a compelling story. You need to be your message clear, simple, repeatable, especially in applications like the EIT, when you need to you need to convey the messages into very few lines, into very few words. You need to be able to express that into an elegant and authentic way. So here are some examples from Apple, from Nike. These are top examples in communications. You should need them to get some inspiration. And finally, as we close this presentation, I want to reiterate that you need to explore all available opportunities, and that goes not only for Horizon Europe, but for any kind of projects, or for funding opportunities, or even not just funding, of support, innovation support opportunities that you can find. We talked about innovation ecosystems for cascading funding, the EIT Jumpstarter, the IC Accelerator. Nikos talked about a few more as well. One does not exclude the other. So you may apply for a European Innovation Ecosystem call and then apply for a financial support through another call, and then build up something which you will take and apply in Jumpstarter, or build up an entity and apply in EIC Accelerator. Even if you are not successful, and chances are that at least at the beginning you will not succeed so easily, it will help you mature your ideas, evolve your ideas, and reach them into a state that they will also help your research. So don't exclude these tools from your portfolio. Don't disregard them because they are not research intense. Research is there because society needs solutions, and for solutions to be sustainable, there needs to be a market for them. So this is what all these calls are about. Thank you, and we are ready to take questions now. Give me
Thank you.
a minute to plug in.
Thank you, Odysseus. That was really, really useful. And the EIT Jumpstarter and the EIC Accelerator. It's important people to realize, and we really liked that what you presented regarding EIT Jumpstarter, that you don't even need to have a legal entity to apply for the support. It's just an idea, a promising idea, which seems quite interesting. To tell you the truth, we don't see that kind of support very often at the European level.
Indeed, yes.
And also very insightful your information regarding the EIC Accelerator. It seems like that the links that you just mentioned have a high demand. People would like to know which are those links for funding.
I will do something better. I will share the links to my presentations even before Kemal sends them. So you will find all the links in the presentations.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So you will have all the information there. Great. I don't know whether there are any further questions on that before we proceed with our final session, which is the Pathfinder and the transition to complete, just to give you an outline of those, of course, because we have been delivering a lot of trainings on those, but just to give you the floor to ask if you need some further clarifications. Meanwhile, so let me then share my screen and my own stuff. So, right. So now we're going to discuss, in the last session, we're going to close it with 2 more actions under the ESC program. I remind you, this is the third pillar, pillar 3. You've seen already under that from the ESC Accelerator, that is one of the 3 funding opportunities that supports, as Odysseus said, that supports, as Odysseus said, solutions of high TRL. And now we're going to focus on the ones, as we've said already at the beginning of this training, those 2 funding opportunities that support TRLs lower, from TRL 1 up to TRL 4. And you see now that with EIC program, you have more or less the full coverage of the different different TRL levels. So depending on how mature your solution is, you can examine different funding opportunities as long as they have a great market potential, because this is the key word. Now, in order to find more information regarding the ESC Pathfinder and the transition, which means the call topic description, who is eligible, but we're going to discuss. These are all included in the official document that the European Commission publishes through the EIC, the European Innovation Council, and that is called the work program. Because the work program is the official document that allows you to see and read the funding opportunities in detail, what is expected to be funded, what are the conditions that they for winning projects, what are the eligibility criteria, what is the deadline, what is the total funding, what is the funding per project. So all these informations are included in the link that you will have in your notes for more details. Now, as we have already discussed, the EIC Pathfinder now supports not TRL 0. We don't have TRL 0 in EIC Pathfinder. A starting point can be TRL 1, where, as a reminder, you have already formulated and proved at least the theory of your crazy idea that can work, more or less, up to the point that it can reach TRL 4, with that you have completed all your experiments in the lab or in a simulated environment, not with users, but in a simulated environment or in the lab. So there are, in that case, we call early stage development idea. This is a common thing that we have in our case. It is also it has 2 types of calls, the open ones and the challenge ones. The open ones are the ones that are actually full bottom-up calls. What a bottom-up call means, that they don't actually describe neither the research area or the research focus or any specific domain that they would like to see projects under that. It's open, so it's a bottom-up. It is up to you to prove that your solution in this area will have great market potential X years after the end of the project. And in that respect, if it's submitted under the open calls, then the starting TRL can be 1 and the end TRL can be 3. On the other hand, a European Commission, in some cases, they want to fund Pathfinder projects, collaborative projects that have a specific focus in a specific key research area. In that respect, they want to see some more mature solutions as a starting point. So the starting point is not anymore TRL1, they expect to see TRL2, and the end TRL, by the end of the project, they expect to have already completed all your experiments in the lab or in the simulated environment, which means reaching TRL4. The maximum funding that you can get is 3 million euros for the open one, and just 4 million euros for the challenge one. So you see the budget is quite high. We're talking about collaborative grant applications. The minimum synthesis of the minimum number of legal entities that we expect to have and countries in the consortium can be 3 in an open call. And that this is what makes it quite interesting. If it is a challenge one, then the European Commission doesn't require you to have a consortium. Of course, you're welcome to have one, but they are open also to applications from single applicants. Maybe one of you had really progressed in a specific key research area that the European Commission has identified that already included in the challenge. In that case, you can submit on your own a proposal. What actually is also important is that any project that is going to be funded under the same challenge in Pathfinder, they expect to collaborate together. So suppose that there is one challenge that it was to find treatments for cancer or for cardiovascular disease. That probably was one challenge of the Pathfinder. Then in that case, all the projects that were funded under that challenge, they had to collaborate and probably establish some synergies, because it is understandable that since they have a common scope, that means that they can share also some resources and knowledge. So this is with respect to the Pathfinder. On the other hand, we have the ESC transition. And the ESC transition, first of all, the maximum funding that you can get is 2.5 million euros. It can be a single applicant or a consortium. That is, if there is a consortium, then you need up to 5 legal entities on board for that. And okay, we discussed about the accelerator just for the sake of completeness. Odysseus said about that. It goes to higher TRLs. So if you pass the 3 stages, short application, long application, the jury, then you're going to receive funding maximum 2.5 million euros, and participation in the shares, in the equity, up to 15 million euros by the European Commission, and that is normally by single applicants. Now, we have also, in some cases, the ESC accelerator can accept, you can pass the first stage of application, which is to submit a short proposal. If you have already won a project, either in Pathfinder, in transition, there are some also possibilities, but these are the main ones. So you miss the first stage, and then you're required to submit a full proposal application directly. And that is a mechanism that can be used for the ones that have been already awarded a Pathfinder or a transition fund. Now, let's talk a little bit more details, the Pathfinder first, and then we will talk about the transition. Now, let's see a little bit the intelligence, the key points that you need to know about the Pathfinder. So there are 3 questions that we need to answer here. It is why, how, and what. So why we have the Pathfinder, why we have these 3-4 million euros for collaborative applications to develop a breakthrough idea and move that forward. Because the first thing that we want is we want to have a scientific basis. So we want to create some scientific knowledge that, as I said, that knowledge, that scientific knowledge, will lead to breakthrough technology. And a breakthrough technology is a complete novel technology that expects to upset the status quo, expects to penetrate easily, to have high demand on European or global markets. This is what we mean with a breakthrough technology. And then from that, we have the 2 options. It's the bottom-up option, the ESC Pathfinder Open, where these are no predefined topics, no research-specific areas. It's up to you in any research area that you are already active. And then we have the ESC Pathfinder challenges, which are these top-down calls. So these are calls that you need to deal with. You need to deal with specific technology breakthroughs. So this is the main difference between those two things. Now, regarding the deadlines, submission deadlines, for this year, we had last week the Pathfinder open. So we had last week collaborative application being submitted. Possibly the next one will be in March of 2025 for Pathfinder open. So you will have the opportunity to deal with them. With the Pathfinder challenges, we can have a look on the work program a little bit later and see which are those challenges. There is a deadline of 16th of October of 2024. So if you fit, your research area fits in one of those challenges, then you can take advantage of that and submit your application. And I remind you that in the Pathfinder challenge, you can be a single applicant also, or a consortium. There is no restriction on that. Now, let's see some other opportunities if you are involved in a Pathfinder project. So as long as you receive a Pathfinder funding, then you are eligible up to 50,000 euros. It is called EIC Booster Grant that helps you, as soon as you finish the Pathfinder project, to explore and identify potential strategies for commercializing your solution. You see that it's very important to understand that Pathfinder is the ultimate aim of Pathfinder, including transition, is to commercialize your solution, to penetrate markets. The Pathfinder, if for the ones that are familiar with Horizon 2020, which was the previous European Research and Funding Program, these were the future and emerging technologies, the FET projects that we had, the FET program that we had on Horizon 2020. Now it moved completely from Pillar 1, that was part of basic research. Now it moved to Pillar 3 in Horizon Europe. Just for the ones that might be aware of that. For the other ones, they don't have to worry and on that. And of course, you can receive that 50,000 euros, not only for commercializing, but for establishing some clustering activities with other projects that are active in the same research area as your project does. And you can have those 50,000 euros. And also, you can submit now, as long as you're part of the Pathfinder, then you can submit your proposal for the ESC Transition Fund for advancing further the technological maturity of your solution. And I remind you that the ESC Transition Fund is not open to everyone, is only open to those projects that they have received some funding from European research, and now they want to advance further the technological maturity with the ultimate aim to penetrate the markets. Also, with the Pathfinder, as I said, as soon as you have completed a project, then you can skip the first stage of the ESC Accelerator, which is to submit a short application, which is, I think, 10 pages or so, and go directly to the stage that you don't need any approvals from the first stage. You go directly to the second stage and submit the full proposal of 50 pages on that. And as long as you are participating in the Pathfinder, this is also extremely important. You have free access to a lot of services that the EIC offers. These are called business acceleration services. So that means you can have up to 3 days or sometimes even more of support from coaches or experts. They can bring you in contact with investors. They can give you access to close events for meeting investors, for collaborating with others. So you have a wide range of different opportunities in order to help you accelerate the development of your solution and entering as quickly as possible the European or the global markets that we have. Now, what you need to ask about is, okay, is the EIC Pathfinder the right tool for my project or my idea or my expertise? So there are some questions that you need to have. First of all, you need to understand that you are the proper starting point. And what is the proper starting point? Either TRL1 for open collaborations or TRL2 for the challenge-specific one. So this is a starting point. If you are lower than that or higher than those, then EIC Pathfinder is not for you. So this is one thing. It has to propose a radically new technology. Yes, something that really you're going to develop a technology that is going to be a breakthrough technology. Technology that will lead to other solutions, to innovative solutions that we need as society, we need as industry, we need in our economy. This is important. So this is, as I said, they expect to create a big change, transformative effect. That means a big change in economy, in society. They have to be based on a scientific breakthrough that, of course, will be validated with some experiments and etc. during the development of the Pathfinder project. You need a team of interdisciplinary experts. You need to understand that if you want to create something that is breakthrough, you cannot do it only with expertise in one discipline. Even if you are one single applicant, one single organization, you need to make sure that you have in your team those different disciplines that are essential for getting the necessary different perspectives, different knowledge, different points of views that are essential for creating something that is a breakthrough. We need also to have high gain, high risk, which meaning that European Commission starts realizing, although they are changing a little bit their mindset, that if you want to create something that is quite radical, that has to be quite risky because no one has developed so far, maybe because they haven't thought about it, maybe because it's very challenging to develop it. It is extremely difficult to reach something like that. So that makes all these things quite risky. But on the other hand, you expect to have something that is of high gain. And this is important. Your solution should not be based on incremental ideas or known pathways. You know very well what you're going to do, because this is impossible when you're going to develop something that is of real breakthrough value. To improve something, to fine-tune something, these words in the vocabulary of Pathfinder are not accepted. They're not accepted because they expect from you to go from that state level to that level there. And it's not incremental research. You're not supposed to know how to go there. Are you going to go that way? Are you going to go that way? Are you going to go that way? It's unknown. Why? Because it's something that is it is something that hasn't been done so far. No one has managed to do that. So this is what makes the Pathfinder quite unique. Of course, for me, it's extremely useful to check the previous funding project under Pathfinder and examine their winning profile and see whatever we have discussed here, whether this is the case. So before actually attempting to develop a proposal, when you're considering the EIC Pathfinder, one of the best ways after this training is to go and check the previously funded projects under Pathfinder. You go to the codes. I'm not going to go now here, but you can do that on your own. You can check some specific questions. The first question is, okay, what is the idea about? How radical that idea is, or that technology behind that idea? What is the expertise of the consortium? And what are the type of organizations? Do we have only researchers? Do we have also some researchers and industry? How experienced they are in their domain? So can I formulate similar teams? Thirdly, what was their approach? Go to the project website and see, okay, what was their methodology for developing such a radical technology? What were the work packages? Normally, the work package structure is something that you can find from the project website. Therefore, you can get an idea also on their approach. Then also what you can see is how ambitious are the project results. Normally, these are also on the project website of some projects. So have a look on those and try to position yourself and see, okay, is this something that I can develop also in my own research area? Not necessarily in the same research area that the project focuses on. So these are critical questions. And as soon as you do this exercise, you go through that checklist, and the ultimate one is to check the previously funded projects, then you will know, as an outcome of that process, you will know whether the ESC Pathfinder is the right tool for your project, which it makes it quite interesting. Now, some key concepts that we have been discussing. We've seen the concept that your solution, your breakthrough technology, and your Pathfinder project should be high risk, high gain. So some people have some difficulties understanding what we mean with high risk and high gain. So gain, try to map it with knowledge. So high gain means we expect to have high knowledge, something that is unknown now. We have some preliminary evidence, but we don't know many things about that. And we need to know that, because if we find out and we develop that kind of knowledge will lead to some breakthrough technologies. So this is the important thing. And then try to map the word risk with the unknown territories or barriers. So the more unknown territories, the more things that we don't know, the more challenges and barriers we have for creating that kind of knowledge, the higher the risk is. So this is actually what makes suitable a Pathfinder project, to have high risk and high gain, because if it is very easy to do that, then this is not a Pathfinder. This is probably another program that you have to deal with, but not with this one. This one should have high risk and high gain. And in general, the most of the projects in the EIC program, in the EIC under Pillar 3, they require to be high risk, high gain. And the Pathfinder, and the Transition, and the EIC Accelerator, we have that kind of couple going together. So the higher the knowledge expected, the higher is the gain. The higher the known territories, what we currently don't know, or the barriers, the higher the risk. So I think that kind of metaphor can help you to understand better what should be the profile of a Pathfinder. And we need some breakthroughs. We need to break something that no one else could do that. So your idea should be high risk, as we've discussed, should be related to a key challenge. This is your big question. For example, curing Alzheimer's disease, and actually not the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, but the causes of Alzheimer's disease, because there's something that science has given up. They still haven't managed that. So if you believe that you can do that, and you have some already preliminary evidence on that, so you reach even at a theoretical level TRL1, then you're very good in working on that. So it's also it is a problem that has an applied nature. I remind you that what you need at the end of the project to have a clear roadmap how your knowledge will be transformed into a breakthrough technology that will allow the development of innovative solutions. So we need to have something of applied nature. It will improve the living conditions of us as citizens, and it will have high economical gains. This is something that we expect to see from breakthrough from Pathfinder projects. Now, because it's a breakthrough one, it's not necessarily a known outcome, because we cannot know yet what we can get out of it. Of course, we can specify it, we can assume what we expect to have, but because it's a breakthrough outcome, it doesn't have to be described in detail what that will be. And also, we need to understand that your knowledge, the one that is going to create, is not going to be used only by you. That the new knowledge that will be created during the Pathfinder should open the horizon for you, but also for other parties, externals to the consortium, externals to you, to make new discoveries because of your newly created knowledge. This is something that we would like to see in Pathfinder projects. I've said that already. You need to make sure that it's not incremental research. Yes? We expect you to go there. We don't know how to go there, so it's not a step-by-step process. If in your methodology you have that kind of clear strategy, then that is not the Pathfinder is not for you. We have and this is what I have been explaining, where you are there, for example, somewhere there, and you want to go up there. And you are not supposed to go like that, step by step. Yes, a known roadmap. No, we don't know the road. We might have to go that way. We might have to go that way. We might have to go that way. We don't know yet how we can manage that, because this is important to understand. We are going to see what works and what doesn't work, because we don't know that. And as soon as we find out what doesn't work, then we will follow some other routes. This is the way that we work. So you don't necessarily need to propose something totally new, but on the contrary, in many cases, you need some preliminary findings to support not only where you stand now here, but also to support an assumption of where you can go. Yes, with your preliminary findings. So it's essential to have those for overcoming those unknown territories. Or you need to, if you are suggesting something that is very radical and upset the status quo in the scientific community, that is acceptable also on the condition that you have already published something. Yes, they have already published something that has been accepted at least by some groups of scientists and it's not something that is completely crazy and no one agrees with that. Yes, we need to be a little bit more pragmatic. Still, European Commission is quite conservative on those things. So I don't know whether there are any questions on the Pathfinder, but what I can do, because this is important, because I was planning to do that, we can go to the, we can go to the work program. And we can have a look on the challenges. Of course, I know that you cannot see now let's have a new share. So hopefully now you can see the European Innovation Council work program. So this is where we have, you see here that we have the Pathfinder. Okay, so these things here, let me increase them. So these are the challenges that we expect to have on this year. So these are the topics under EIC Pathfinder. I remind you the deadline is in this autumn, so you have time in October. So you have solar to X devices. You see very concrete cement and concrete as a cardboard sink, nature-inspired alternatives for food packaging and films for agriculture, nanoelectronics for energy-efficient smart edge devices, strengthening the sustainability and resilience of EU space infrastructure. So these are the topics, the current topics of 2024. If you have a research, some preliminary findings in any of those research areas, then you are strongly advised to have a look at them. If you click any one of them, You will see also the challenge. So it starts with the challenge, what that is. And actually, there's a very nice guidance for the open Pathfinder. So you need to prepare something like that if you are submitting a Pathfinder application under the challenge. And we have that. You see also what kind of expectations they have. The objectives, you see breakthrough objectives. And we have, so it's quite detailed what we expected, the short-term benefits, expect outcomes, the short-term benefits from your project results, the long-term benefits from the project results. These are impacts. So you see these are here, the explanations. So then in the long run, what is expected in the short run is expected outcome, what is expected in the long run is expected impact. So you have all this information. And you need to comply with that. So if you have a specific expertise in any of those areas under the ESC challenges, then you are strongly advised to submit a proposal under the Pathfinder. Now, also, if you are going to submit a Pathfinder because you don't have any activity in those challenges, but so you're planning to have an open Pathfinder, the open call to exploit, then in that case, try first to prepare something similar for your research idea as a tip. This is a tip for you, based on taking this as a guide. So see how detailed the call is, how detailed the expectations are for the challenges, and prepare a similar one for the open Pathfinder for next year. Probably something like March next year, we will have the next deadline. So these are for the Pathfinder. So now I will switch back to the presentation, and I will go directly to the ESC Transition Fund, unless you have. Okay. So there was one question from Eren on that. So we have one point. Does EIT Jumpstarter emphasize breakthrough, disruptive, and deep technology-based product goal like at the ESC Pathfinder? It does, but in not that strictly as the ESC Pathfinder. You need to have an idea. You need to have an idea that you believe at some extent it could lead to an innovative solution. But it is not that research demanding as it is the Pathfinder one. So it is a little bit, it is a breakthrough idea, but it doesn't require that much research as you require for the Pathfinder. So that's, I hope I answered that question to you, Irene. If not, let me know. I'll ask a clarification on those. So we finished the ESC Pathfinder, and we're going quickly to check the Transition Fund. So I remind you the Transition Fund helps the transition from the research level to the innovation level, if we may say. So this is what we have. So you see here that their role is actually So their role is actually to support, and the key word is maturation and validation of novel technologies. So you go, that's why you need now to test your, your solution with actual users. You are strongly advised to go outside the lab to check your technology with its intended users. So this is important, and you start working also during the transition project with the commercialization and the business model behind your disruptive, the breakthrough technology. And again, we have bottom-up calls for that, and we have normally top-down calls for that, as in the same manner that we had for the EIC Pathfinder. However, I think for this year we don't have any challenge call, but I will show you that. Remember what you need to remember regarding those who can submit. As I said, it's not everyone that can submit an application. If you have been funded other ESC Pathfinder projects, or maybe from the pre-successors of that, so we have that, then you can exploit the transition fund. Or if it was under an ERANET project, or it was under an ERC proof of concept project, or actually, let me see here. You don't also some Horizon Europe projects. We have here also Horizon Europe projects. If they have been completed yet, we don't know. Maybe some of them, because the project has been running already for 3-4 years, so maybe you add here the Horizon Europe projects. Now, also what is important is you don't have to be involved in that project, in the previous one. However, what you need to make sure is that you have the IP rights to exploit and advance further your solution. So this is important. So you need to have a confirmation from the coordinator of the project, even if you're not involved in that consortium, that you have the IP rights, the property rights to exploit and commercialize those results. And maybe you can do that by, of course, submitting the proposal to the Transition Fund, and then possibly to the ESC Accelerator, because this is the normal follow-up process. And then you can agree to give some royalties to the consortium that gave you those IP rights. So there are some eligibility criterion for that. There is those eligibility criteria, which results from which projects can be funded for further development and further advancement in the technology. These are in the work program of 2024. You will see there which are those. They mention there the specific programs that we have. And let me try to do that, since I have opened the EIC work. Is this one? The EIC work program. So let me share this one. So this is the work program that we've seen for the Pathfinder. Go here, and you go to the, can you apply? Yeah, 51. So you see here they have all those projects. If you have been funded in any of those projects that are mentioned mainly in the footnote, these are the ones, yes, that are eligible. The results of those projects are the ones that are eligible for the ESC Transition Fund. So as I said, all these are in the work program, and of course in your notes. So let me go back to my presentation. That this is, and then so it's important that eligibility. We have some accepted projects and statistics. Okay, this can be useful. The deadline for the ESC Transition Open, if you have already the ownership of some of those eligible results, is this September 2024. And as I said, yes, correct, this year there are no challenge calls. Yes. Be aware that there are also some restrictions in the resubmission. So that means if your proposal is not of good quality, then you have to wait for a year in order to submit your proposal. If your proposal receives below the threshold in 2 or more of the evaluation criteria. So try to not, if you're not believing your proposal, if you have already submitted one and it was below the threshold, then you will have some restrictions on that. And also we have the similar services, extra services that we can have, as we've seen for the Pathfinder, also for the transition. So we have all this, which is exactly the same as were in the Pathfinder. I'm not going to go through them. Also, this is quite interesting because here shows that from the projects that have been funded under transition, more than 50%, yes, 60% were coming from results from proof of concept of ERC. Yes, so this is interesting. And I understand that because in that case, you don't have to deal with IPR rights. You have a complete breakthrough solution. You worked on that through the ERC. It was really innovative. You had successfully completed your proof of concept. So it makes the right candidate for definitely for the transition fund, without, of course, excluding the other sub-programs that we've seen. But statistically point of view, it seems that we have more than 50%, 60% coming out from the successful projects, coming out from the ERC proof of concept. And you can yes, see also the other different calls so you had from Pathfinder or FedOpen. So also, yes, we had projects on that. I don't know, you need to check whether from the statistics point of view, how many of previous Horizon Europe projects, collaborative one, research, innovation actions were used as a starting point of your results. But as you've seen here, definitely the proof of concept and then Pathfinder are the most of FET, are the most promising projects for the transition fund. Now, again, you need to check whether the ERC transition is the next right tool for your project, as long as, of course, you are eligible. Have you managed through your project to reach either a tier level TRL 3 or if it is a challenge TRL 4? Has already this technology being validated through a proof of concept in the lab? Because this is essential. And do you have, of course, the ownership of that technology? Yes, that is used. Have you had some preliminary findings regarding the market potential of your solution that can help, because that you can include in your proposal? And if you have already, I remind you, if you have received support under the Pathfinder, you are eligible to receive the ERC Accelerator, Business Accelerator services, which means that you can have also some coaching in order to help you on creating that preliminary market validation and possibly documenting more the business potential of your solution. And do you have also a team that is not focusing on research, but it is one that is really keen on commercializing the solution that they have developed, reaching TRL and then penetrating European and global markets? And of course, you can check previous projects funded under transition and check their winning profile from the Horizon dashboard. Yes, also from Cordis, but for the transition fund, I find it a little bit easier, but it's the same thing. You go to the Horizon dashboard, you see all the transition projects, and then you click on their link next to them, and it will take you to the Cordis site. So it doesn't make that much difference, but for me, it was easier for that. Now, two things that you need to understand regarding the transition now. There are high expectations regarding your transition proposal. We expect to see two types of validations, if I may say, the technological validation or the technological track, but also the business track. You have two approaches. You have the technology, further development, the technology, and also making sure that you are developing a strategy for a clear roadmap towards the commercialization of your solution. So this is extremely important to understand. If you ignore, for example, the business track, then you will not be successful. And there are most of the failed projects were failing because they didn't have focus also on the business roadmap. So this, you need to explain your business model, market analysis. As I said, you should have already received some guidance on how to do that from the business acceleration services if you were part of the Pathfinder. and you need to have a clear business case and a business model. So it can sound quite challenging for scientists of doing that, but you can get for free some support from the Business Accelerator services for doing so. Now, also the ESG transition have different implementation pathways, how you're going to implement your project. The first one is, yes, you can have a collaborative project. You are collaborating with other actors, you're combining different disciplines, the research ones, the business-oriented ones, so you have this multi-beneficiary approach. The other one is that you can have a single entity, which can be a startup or a spin-off. Spin-off is more common in transition fund, because it comes out from a university, from research institutions based on some research findings. So in that case, you can be the single applicant for doing that, and you can be the one that exploits the project results from the ESC Pathfinder or from the ERC proof of concept. Or you can have a team of researchers that they are part of a lab group, a research group within a university, within a research institutions, so they are applying on behalf of the institution, but at some extent you need to mention in your proposal that how you're planning to commercialize that solution, what kind of vehicle you're going to use, and in that case you need to explain that you have in your plans to develop a spin-off company. Okay. Okay. Okay. The higher, this is what we say here with that section, is as a reminder that the higher the TRL is, so if you're not starting from TRL 4, but you're starting on TRL 5, then less research and development efforts you need, and you need more business-related efforts. So that means that your budget can be a little bit lower. Now, some feedback from ESC transition evaluators that we have. First of all, we have, let's see the process of the ESC evaluation. We have a remote evaluation faced by experts. So then there's an average of the individual scores per each one of the three criteria. So we have an overall sum of the three averages, and you get the feedback within 9 weeks after the goal deadline. If successful, so that means if you are above the threshold, and depending on the ranking, then they invite twice than the ones that they can support financially for an interview. And then that means that you have a 50, as soon as you're invited to an interview, you have a 50% success rate. You can bring only people that are mentioned in the proposal, not any consultant, not any external, not your business coach. The jury is composed of 6 members, and they have each member has a different expertise from the technological field, from the market-related field. You pitch your proposal and you are clarifying your questions, and then the committee, the jury, recommends whether it's a go or no go, or even a no change in the overall score. And some feedback per se, specifically from the evaluators. Remember that level 3 is the minimum starting point in a transition proposal, although level 4 is preferred. So that means that you have already eliminated some risk because you have successfully completed some experiments in the lab in a simulated environment. This is what TRL level 4 means. So that means that, okay, it sounds very promising. We look for novel innovations, but the ones that they have social and economical impact, benefits, as we have already been discussing. Regarding the business validation, you expect to see in the proposal a preliminary business and market exploration analysis. So this is something that you can do it also with the business coaches that you have access for free from the program, if you have already if you're part of the Pathfinder, for example. And remember that the business model is equally important as the technological breakthrough. So how you're going to develop further your technological solution is equally important on how you're going to commercialize your solution. So you need to understand very well what is your market, what are the competitions, you need to include them in your proposal, and also you need to give milestones regarding the different developments, further development stages of your solution, who will own what during, by the end of the project, after the end of the project, very well explained distribution of the allocation of resources, thorough risk analysis by identifying specific technical and business risks, and of course, giving the likelihood, assessing them, how impactful they're going to be, their significance, and of course, what are your preventive and your reactive measures. What is the starting TRL of your solution? You need to elaborate what is your starting TRL very clearly and what will be the expected one. What is the interdependence between the different work packages, how work package 1 affects work package 2 and how they are interrelated. So this is also very nice to show with a paired diagram. Who will be exploiting the solution? This is also very important. How credible are your business targets, your commercialization targets? And that's it. I mean, I don't know whether you understand, whether we discourage you or encourage you to exploit Pathfinder, especially Transition Fund, but definitely if you have already completed either a Pathfinder or a FET from Horizon 2020 or a proof of concept, then you're strongly advised to exploit the Transition Fund by following, of course, the principles. Now, before ending the session and opening the floor for any further questions, if you really need, this was just a snapshot of all the different funding opportunities for helping you to transform your research findings into innovative solutions. But in this program, we have been running a lot of trainings, vertical ones for a day, for half a day, for each one of those programs. So if you want to go back to our, this is the one. So if you go to our Zendesk, so this is, I hope you know this one. So this is the help desk of our program. And if you go there, you will see that, so you will see there for the Transition Fund. If you go and you go the search results, this is the program that we have. You see the trainings that we have regarding the Transition Fund. Actually, we had one recently in September 2023 regarding the Transition Funds. We had also for the European Innovation Ecosystem. So most or even almost all, almost all of the programs that we have discussed today are, I'm not sure about Cascade Funding, but for all the others, we have been delivering trainings, more extensive ones, and the same for the Pathfinder, and the same for the European Innovation and the ESC Accelerator, a lot of that we have for the European Innovation Ecosystem. So this is a very nice repository of trainings that you can see, download the training material, and of course, watch from most of them also the training videos. So I will switch back to my presentation because for one single reason, and that single reason is just to congratulate you, because that was a long session. In general, the whole day was quite long for you. You had to become familiar with many different funding opportunities, but at least now you have realized that it is possible to transform with the European support your research findings into innovative solutions. So we have that. So I don't know whether there are any further questions. I think the ones that you're welcome, Eren. So these are answered. I don't see anything else. Let me check the Q&A. Okay, so we don't have anything else on those. So I think I don't know if there are any further questions, please let us know. Otherwise, I will give the floor back to Merve from the TÜBİTAK to have their final closing remarks.
Nikolaos, I would like to inform you that Merve Hanım and Tarık Bey were needed to go another event.
Okay.
So you can make closing part on behalf of TÜBİTAK.
Okay, perfect. So that is the end of our session. Just one reminder: on Thursday we have a very nice event, physical event at TÜBİTAK premises on the AT Jumpstarter. Please, if you want, contact us, contact Kemal, our team, to see how you can participate. Also, regarding ERC, we had a lot of trainings ran on ERC. We had the last one this summer in Istanbul. And I think also the ERC trainings have been recorded. At least you can download the training material. So you go again to our repository of our program, Zendesk Tracking Horizon 2020. Kemal and his team can provide you more details on that, where you can see the trainings that we had on ERC, and we had a lot of trainings on ERC and recent ones also. So we strongly advise you to go and join that, download and access that material. I hope I answered that question to you, Eren. If you want anything else, let me know. Anyone else that would like to make a comment? That's a good Eren. That's nice. Okay. Then that's the closing remark. I don't know whether this is if someone else wants to say something, but I think
we said we shared a lot of information, and we need to allow some time to our participants to reflect on that and dissect it, and make sure that they make the right choice when it comes to going for a program under Horizon.
Indeed, as always the case. Yes, after our trainings, we give a lot of knowledge and information. You're right, Odysseus. Okay, so keep up the good work. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.